Hello, folks. I've seen a lot of folks having questions on how to fly instruments and autopilot on the A320 and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I just wanted to put a quick little tutorial out there on how I do it. It may not be the right way, but it seems to work. So I have a flight I do quite frequently. Starts off at Airport Whiskey 03 in Wilson, North Carolina. And the departure runway of 33 and KRDU will be our arrival. I said KRDU. There we go. And we want runway 23R. See, now this is a VFR flight. What we want to do is change this to a low altitude airway. That will give us some RNAV points. And then the next thing we want to do is change it to ILS 23R, which is going to put us on task to get to this ILS right here. So we'll hit the fly button and we'll talk a little bit about the approach while we wait for the aircraft to load. Okay, so let's go here, look at the approach plate for ILS 23 right and KU. This is a Cat 3 ILS, which means zero decision height on this particular runway. You can see that if it's a Cat 2, the decision height is at 509 feet. But we're going to pretend like we're going to do a Cat 3 just for funsies, and we'll set the aircraft up as if to do that. You can see here PRSTN, it wants us in at 3,000, intercepting the glide slope at 2,200. What I have found is ATC is...
Whiskey 03 traffic Panama 1123, taking off runway 33 north departure.
ATC will bring us in at 4,000, and then we have to do this machination to get down to the right altitude. So I'm going to cheat, and ATC will yell at me, but it's really the better way to do it. So it sounds like our airplane is on the runway, or getting close to the runway, so we're going to get ready to fly. Let's change the weather so we have a prettier day. We don't want a gray day. Let's do a few clouds. And let's do it in the afternoon. So we get some nice sunset stuff going on. About like that, I guess. Okay. So we want to set up a couple things on the airplane. Over in here on the flight computer. So we want to hit the performance and hit next phase till we get to the right page. Okay, this approach. So QNH is the barometric pressure in millibars, 1031. The way you enter things is you type the number in, it displays here, and then you hit the button. We're going to guess it's around 21C. Wind, we're going to say is none, so this would be the direction and the strength. So in order, when you have a little slash here, you've got to enter the number, a slash, and the other number. Hit the button. You can see ILS 23R is selected for us because it was loaded in from our flight plan. And so the next thing we want here is decision height. We're going to pretend like it's a Cat 3, like we know what we're doing. It's all a cruel hoax, but you know, can't hurt anybody on the simulator. Okay, so here we are. Get back up to the normal cockpit position. I really should bind a key to this, but I won't. So this is a pretty short runway for this plane. It's less than 5,000 feet, so we're going to crank this everything up, leaving the parking brake on. You can see by choosing this runway, our flight really, is pretty direct from the end of the runway. So sometimes you have to take off and make a pretty big turn to get right on the correct flight plan. But we're pretty good here. Okay, so we got everything looking good here. I'm going to reduce this to 4,000 because I know that this flight plan normally goes at around 4,000. So we'll try that. Again, I'm going to cheat as we get to close to the PRSTN waypoint because it's not correct that they bring us in at 4,000. Okay, so here we go. I'll release the parking brake. Again, remember, I'm going to put a couple more extra clicks of flaps in. Short runway. We're going to get up to about 140. Get back on the runway, 140s, pull back on the stick, get that landing gear in, start bringing the flaps up, positive rate of climb, back inside the cockpit.
Washington Center, Panamard 1123 is at 700 feet, climbing 4,000 feet.
So we're going to hit the autopilot.
1123 Washington Center, continue to exhale as planned.
Turn the autopilot on. I'm going to back off on the throttles so that the auto throttle will work. When the throttle is in full position, the auto throttles will not work. Okay, so we're back in here. I'm going to engage that. So we should be staying right around 240. It looks like we're following the flight path. That's good. We're going to get up to 4,000. With any luck at all, it will stop there. I found the autopilot to be a little finicky. Now, it may be because I don't know what I'm doing, or maybe because it's finicky. I don't know. But at any rate, we'll continue flying on here and see what happens. If we can make it to Raleigh without crashing. So co-pilot's got all the ATC deals. Looks like we're tracking pretty good here. Flying along at 240. Took a nice day. In the eastern North Carolina area. Panama Red. It's our tail number. Nice looking Airbus. Nice looking model. Flying along. Look at our VFR map. Tracking a little bit off. I found that this thing does this. As you can remember, Exul was one of our waypoints. So while this track is going to bring us here, the aircraft is going to fly more towards Exul and back this way. I don't know why it does this. Sometimes it's very disconcerting. Other times it's just bothersome. So here we are, back in the cockpit. Here, reset this view. And now we're turning, that's a good thing. So, a little bit about me. I have my private pilot's license for single engine land with an instrument rating. Not a real Airbus pilot, nor do I play one on TV, just on YouTube. So I do know a little bit about flying instrument approaches, although the aircraft the aircraft I fly in is a lot more work. You're actually flying, by hand and using VORs and all kinds of crazy stuff. So this is much more enjoyable. So I'm going to slow us down here a little bit, because we're really not that far away. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask them to let us go down to 3,000 feet, because I know that's really where we want to bet.
Panamard 1123. Request 3,000 feet. Panamard 1123 descend and maintain 3,000 feet.
So, as I said before,
Descend and maintain 3,000
ATC
feet.
will
Panamard
bring us
1123.
down way too late. Let's see if this actually is going to behave. Looks like it's trying to bring us down. That's good. Well, there are things you can do. This navigation display, you can set the range so you can see our full flight plan here going into Raleigh. And watch this altitude hold to make sure that she's going to stop at 3,000. I've seen it where it hasn't, but that's what happens. Okay, so we're coming up at 3,000. That's a good thing. I'm going to slow us down a little bit more. We want to, on final approach with the gear down and flaps in, we want to be in the, the 145-ish range for landing. So things are looking good. I'm going to go here and put on the auto speed brakes, lifting up on that. Okay, it's on. Alright. I guess you could put auto thrust in here, but auto reverse thrust, but I'm not going to do that. So we're turning here. You can see we're turning at our waypoint Zebul, which is outside of the small town of Zebulon, North Carolina. So I assume that's what it's named for. Headed over to PRSTN, and then on ILS 23R for Raleigh-Durham. So let's go look outside again, enjoy the view.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors ILS runway 23 right approach. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect vectors ILS runway 23 right approach. Panamard 1123.
Looking good. Airplane's flying itself. I'm just watching it, making sure it's doing what I think it's going to do, which is nice. I'm going to reset this view again. I really need to get this on a hotkey. So here we are. Let's come down a little bit in speed. You can see can't go a whole lot slower than this without the flaps down. So as soon as we get make that turn on to final, we're going to get our gear down, flaps down, and ready to go for landing. You know, in the real world, they'd have a landing checklist that we'd look at, and I don't even know if this thing has a landing checklist. Does it? Checklist. Doesn't look like it. But there would be a checklist that we'd go through and make sure everything's cool. But since we don't have anybody's lives to worry about, we'll just fly it like we own it. Pretty looking view out there. Get rid of that. It's pretty good frame rates, 37 average, 33. I'm running a 2080 Super. It seems to perform pretty well as far as frame rates and resolution. This is at Ultra, so not bad at all. So I'm gonna come back down just a little bit more here. We should be making our turn here at PRSTN. I'm going to turn on the ILS info on the display, which adds these dots. Okay, it's going to start making the turn onto the final.
123, you are 13 miles northeast of Raleigh. Maintain present heading and altitude.
So I am going to hit the approach button. Okay, you can see that these diamonds are starting to line up.
And altitude. Tower on ONE 27.45, Panamard 1123. Raleigh Tower Panamard 1123, 12 miles northeast, inbound ILS runway 23 right approach.
So I'm going to give us some flaps.
Panamard 1123 Raleigh Tower. Cleared ILS runway 23 right approach. Altimeter 29.9 2 and 280 at 7.
So we're a little below the glide slope, so the aircraft is trying to get us back up there.
ILS runway 23 right approach, Panamard 1123.
Got the flaps down. Okay, so we're still a little bit below. See that diamond there on the so when that diamond comes in, that means we're on the glide slope. Okay, we're right at Bodley, just about at Bodley.
Overspeed.
We got to cut this down a little bit because
Overspeed.
going too fast for the flaps being down. We're on the glide slope and the localizer. These diamonds show that we're on glide slope and the localizer, and we're tracking up here. Okay, so now the magic of an ILS landing should occur, an auto land. So in a regular non-auto land aircraft, you would, you know, at some point along this final approach, you would start to hand fly it. Or if
1123 cleared to land runway 23 right. Wind 279 at 7.
and again, remember, I'm not a real Airbus pilot, so
Runway 23 right,
I'm
Panamard
sure
1123.
I'm sure I'm doing stuff that's not right according to the book. But you know, for me and just the enjoyment of learning how to do this is really what it's about. As I, you know, learn more about the A320 in the sim, I'll probably be a little more, you know, accurate in what I'm doing here. So, let's reset that view. See, we're lined up good on the runway. Our ILS indicators are lined up. Everything's looking good. We're in the 140-ish range. Now I found that the auto land in this thing is a little bit hard, and it also seems to put us down a little right of center of the runway. But you know, that's the way it is. So sorry. So just looking around, everything's looking good. Speed's good. Our pappies are you know, two white, two red. That says we're on the right place for a touchdown. Glide slope localizer. At some point, okay, let's just change it over to land. So it's going to do auto land.
300.
And we just keep our hands off until it tells us to retard throttle at 20 feet. See, the PAPI shows a little bit high, but that's okay. At this distance, the glide slope is right on.
100. 60. 50.
There's the inner marker.
30.
I'm going to start retarding.
Retard.
Okay, successful landing. Again, it puts us to the right of the runway for some reason. See the spoilers deployed. That's good.
Southwest 2540 Raleigh Tower. Cleared Arnett Yankee runway 23 right approach. Altimeter 29.9 2 and 279
So that's the A320 autopilot ILS tutorial. Again, you know, it'll get you through. It's probably not you know, the exact procedures that a real pilot would use, but you know, it'll get you there, and you'll be able to at least get this thing down on the ground and following a flight path. So that's about it. I'm gonna pull up to the gate here and get some gate service. Got to get beer for the passengers and beer for me. No, I guess I can't have beer flying, but you know, that's the way it goes. So let's see, we'll get it in here. And let's see if it'll actually do the gate for me. Sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. Let's see. Ground. Yeah, I'm taxiing. I've already done all this.
Raleigh ground Panamard 112 taxi to the gate. Panamard 112 taxi to gate 22. Taxiing to gate 22 Panamard 1123.
Yeah, I guess that's not going to let me get the gate. I might not be in the right position. Oh no, here, let's try it.
Raleigh ground Panamard 1123. Could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft? Panamard 1123, the jetway is going to be connected.
There you have it, folks. Thanks. Hope you liked it. Talk to you later.